There's something no one tells you when you're growing up as a man. You're trained to chase, to impress, to perform. You're told women are a mystery, that they hold the power in relationships, that if she pulls away, you must have done something wrong, that if she's silent, you better fix it. But what if I told you something different? What if I told you that every woman you've ever desired, the confident one, the shy one, the mysterious one, they all carry hidden emotional vulnerabilities, weaknesses that aren't flaws, but windows into her heart, into her fears. And when a man knows how to see them, he becomes unforgettable. Not because of his looks, not because of money, but because he understood something deeper, something most men are blind to. This video isn't about manipulating her, it's about understanding her so deeply that she feels safe around you without knowing why. So clearly that your presence becomes the very thing she craves in her quietest moments. If you've ever felt confused, rejected, or invisible to the women you want, it's time to flip the script. Let me show you the 10 hidden female weaknesses that most men never notice, so you can stop chasing and start being chosen. Let's get one thing straight. Women are not as unbreakable as they pretend to be. They're not always in control. And they're definitely not immune to desire, longing, and emotional vulnerability. But the world teaches you to believe that they are. You see it on Instagram in music videos, in the way they walk past you with headphones on, barely noticing you exist. You start believing you're not enough. You think, if I just had more muscles, more money, maybe then she'd look my way. But here's the truth I need you to hear. It's not your wallet or your abs that unlock a woman's soul. It's your awareness, your calm, your ability to see beyond the mask she wears every day. Because every woman you meet is hiding something, a fear, a wound, a soft spot. And if you can recognize those things, not to use against her, but to connect with her, you become a rare kind of man. A man who doesn't chase women because women gravitate to him, not for his status, but for the way he makes her feel safe. And listen, this isn't about playing the game. It's about understanding human emotion on a level most men never do. When you can calmly notice her body language shift when she feels insecure, when you can respond with stillness when she lashes out, when you can make her feel seen when the world only praises her appearance, that's when you become unforgettable. So don't let this just be another video you watch and scroll past. Let it be the one that changes the way you see women forever. Because once you learn to read their hidden weaknesses, you'll stop being confused. You'll stop being left on read, and you'll start becoming the man she silently prays will notice her. Have you ever looked at a woman and thought, she doesn't need anyone? Maybe it was the way she carried herself, confident, composed, like the world couldn't shake her. Maybe it was the way she looked you dead in the eye and told you she didn't need a relationship, that she was focused on herself, on her goals, on her life. But here's what most men never realize. That woman, the one who seems untouchable, she's not unfeeling. She's just learned how to survive without the thing she desires most, reassurance. She's been through enough to build a wall. And behind that wall is a girl who once trusted too easily, who gave her heart too freely, and got burned for it. See, independence is often a mask, a protection. It's how she copes with disappointment. And the irony, the very thing she projects to push men away, is the same thing that confuses you into thinking she doesn't care. But she does. Deeply. She just doesn't want to admit it first. This is where a man's awareness becomes his superpower. Most men either pull back when they sense that distance, or they chase harder, trying to prove themselves. Both miss the mark. What she really needs is presence, quiet, grounded presence. Not attention, not validation, not sweet talking, but reassurance without neediness. She doesn't want you to tell her she's beautiful for the 100th time. She wants to feel that your eyes see her when she walks into a room, that you remember the small things she thought no one noticed, that when she shares something vulnerable, you don't interrupt, fix, or joke about it. You just stay emotionally present. A woman who hides behind independence is a woman who has felt abandoned at her weakest. So when she starts to care about you, she fears needing you, because she's afraid you'll vanish the moment she leans in. And when you disappear emotionally or become inconsistent, she reads it as danger. Not because she's clingy, but because she's been here before. She's seen how it ends. This is why the most powerful men don't just give love. They give emotional safety. They hold space without trying to control. They check in, not out of insecurity, but out of care. They don't get scared when she tests the waters with silence or sarcasm. They lean in with quiet strength. And it's that strength, not bravado, that breaks her down in the most beautiful way. If you're dealing with a woman who says she doesn't want a relationship, or who seems cold when you open up, don't chase her. Don't argue with her. See her. Reassure her in your consistency. Let your energy tell her, you don't have to run this time. I'm not like the rest. Because when a woman finally feels like she can exhale, when she stops bracing for the moment you'll leave, when your calm makes her feel more like herself than her defenses ever did, she won't just want you, she'll respect you. And for a woman like that, respect is the gateway to desire. So remember this: a woman's independence isn't rejection, it's protection. And if you have the courage to stand still long enough for her to lower her guard, you'll be the first man she lets in, not because she needed saving, but because you made her feel safe enough to stop saving herself. There's something subtle but incredibly powerful that a woman picks up on. Before you even speak, it's not your clothes, not your height, not how much you earn, it's your energy, your presence. The way you walk into a room and either command stillness or disappear into the background like a boy waiting for permission to exist. Now listen carefully. This is not about dominance. This isn't about aggression. It's not about barking orders or pretending to be someone you're not. I'm talking about a deep, grounded masculinity, the kind that is calm, self assured, and unshaken. And let me tell you the truth: when a woman doesn't feel that from you, something inside her shuts down. Not because she doesn't like you, not because you're not good enough, but because your energy says to her, I'm still figuring out who I am. And here's the part most men don't realize: a woman cannot surrender emotionally to a man whose presence she does not trust. She may flirt, she may entertain you, but deep inside, her instincts are screaming, this isn't safe. And I don't mean physically unsafe, I mean emotionally unsafe. That's a whole different level. See, weak masculinity is unpredictable, it lacks purpose. It needs her approval to survive. It clings, it seeks validation, it apologizes for being masculine. And a woman, no matter how sweet she seems, is repelled by it. She may not even know why. But it doesn't feel right. She feels like she's the one holding emotional space, and that wears her down. Now let me flip the mirror back on you for a second. If you've ever been ghosted by a woman after what felt like a great connection, if she said, I'm just not ready for something serious, but was dating another guy a week later, if she said, you're so sweet, but always chose someone else, this is probably what was going on. She didn't feel emotionally safe with you. Not because you were rude, but because you didn't embody that silent strength, because your world still revolved around her reactions. Women don't want to mother you, they want to respect you. And respect only grows when a man is so anchored in who he is that her emotions don't throw him off. That when she's angry, he doesn't panic. That when she's distant, he doesn't chase. That when she's emotional, he doesn't run, or worse, mirror her chaos. Real masculinity is not reactive, it's stable. And that stability makes her feel something she can't describe. It makes her relax. It makes her curious. It makes her want to know more. When a man is grounded, really grounded, he becomes irresistible because she can finally let go. She doesn't have to play games. She doesn't have to test. She just feels safe. And that safety allows attraction to deepen into something rare. So if you've been wondering why women don't stick or why they always end up with men who don't treat them well, ask yourself, am I anchored in my purpose? Or am I chasing hers? Because when you show up with weak masculinity, she may smile, but deep down, she's already looking for the exit. Be the calm in her emotional storm. Be the presence she can rest in, and watch how her walls fall. Not because you tore them down, but because your strength made her feel finally, truly safe. Let's be honest for a second. How many times have you called a woman too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too dramatic? Maybe it was the way she got upset over something small. Maybe it was her tone, the tears, the way she kept circling back to something you thought you already apologized for. And in that moment, you probably thought to yourself, this is exhausting. You told your boys, I don't get women, man. I say one thing and she flips out. But let me offer you another perspective, not from a place of judgment, but from truth. What if the thing you call drama is actually a desperate cry for emotional validation? You see, women process emotion through expression. That's how they unload emotional weight. That's how they feel seen. That's how they feel loved. But the sad reality is, most men were never taught how to hold emotional space. So when she brings her feelings to you, you freeze. You shut down. You get defensive. Or worse, you dismiss her completely. You say things like, why are you always so negative? Or can't we just talk about this later? And in that moment, you're not just ignoring her words, you're invalidating her experience. You're telling her in a silent but powerful way, your feelings don't matter here. And I want you to hear me on this. That moment changes everything. Because once a woman stops feeling emotionally safe with you, she may stay physically present, but she starts leaving in pieces. She starts pulling away. She stops sharing. She builds quiet resentment until one day she's gone, and you're left wondering what happened. The truth is, Women aren't asking you to fix their problems. They're asking you to feel them, to acknowledge their emotional reality without making it about you, to sit in the discomfort without rushing past it. Because when you do that, something incredible happens. She softens. Her walls melt, her voice calms, her respect for you deepens. It's not the grand gestures that make a woman stay. It's those small moments when you choose to lean in instead of walk away, when you hold her gaze instead of rolling your eyes, when you say, I hear you, that must have hurt, instead of, here we go again. That's when she feels safe. That's when she trusts. That's when she chooses you again and again. But when you label her emotional expression as drama, you turn her pain into a burden. And no woman wants to be a burden. So eventually, she'll go find someone else. Not someone richer or better looking, but someone who makes her feel like she's allowed to be all of herself without being punished for it. So here's your challenge. The next time a woman brings you emotion, don't fix it. Don't run from it. Just be there. Let her feel. Let her speak. Let her know she's not too much for you. Because the man who can stand in the fire of her feelings without flinching, that man becomes unforgettable. Not because he was perfect, but because he saw her stayed and made her feel finally validated. It's a painful truth, but one you need to hear. The more you try to impress her, the more invisible you become to her. I know, it sounds backwards. You think if you treat her like a queen, if you say yes to everything, if you never disagree, never challenge, never lead, she'll finally see how kind, how loyal, how good of a man you are. But in doing that, what you're really doing is chasing her approval. And the moment she senses that, something inside her shuts off. Here's what most men never realize: a woman does not want to lead the emotional energy of the relationship, even if she's strong, even if she's independent. If she feels like you're waiting for her to tell you who to be, she starts losing attraction. Not because she's cruel, but because deep in her biology, she's wired to respond to certainty, to strength, to stillness, to direction. And when you don't provide that, when you wait for her to tell you if you're good enough, you subtly hand over your masculine power. And that's when she loses respect. You say things like, did I do something wrong? Are you okay with that? Should I have said that differently? And while you think you're being thoughtful, what you're really saying is, I need you to validate me because I don't trust myself. And that, my brother, is the death of desire. Women don't want to validate a man. They want to feel his presence. They want to feel that you are grounded in who you are, whether she agrees or not, that you'll listen but not fold, that you'll care but not beg, that you'll love her deeply, but you'll never need her permission to be who you are. And this is where most nice guys get crushed. They give too much. They over-explain. They accommodate everything, not because they're bad men, but because they think love means self-sacrifice. But in the real world, that kind of love feels more like pressure than passion. It feels like neediness. It feels like fear. And women can sense it a mile away. So stop trying to win her over. Stop walking on eggshells, hoping she'll finally choose you. Start showing up like a man who has already chosen himself. Because that's what ignites attraction. That's what makes her curious. That's what makes her think about you when she's alone. She's not looking for perfect. She's looking for sure. She wants to feel your confidence, not arrogance, not bravado, just solid, calm self-trust. And let me tell you something beautiful. When you stop needing her to approve of you, that's when she starts chasing your approval. Not because you're playing games, but because you finally became the kind of man she respects. And that respect, that's the beginning of everything. There's something powerful about a man who doesn't reveal everything. Not because he's hiding, but because he's rooted, calm, collected, quietly intense. And women can feel that from across a room. Now, here's the reality that might surprise you. Most men talk too much when they want to be liked. They overshare. They confess too early. They spill their pain, their past, their goals, their heartbreak, hoping that by laying it all out, the woman will say, wow, he's so open, so real. And yes, vulnerability is powerful, but only when it's earned. Because what she's actually drawn to, what keeps her thinking about you when you're not around, isn't what you say. It's what you don't say. It's that silence between words, the pause after a glance, that stillness in your presence that makes her wonder, who is he really? You see, mystery isn't about being cold. It's about being composed. It's about not handing your entire story to someone before they've earned the right to carry it. And that restraint, that's self-control. That's magnetic. You want to know why the guy who barely texts her back keeps her interest longer than the one who writes novels every night? It's not because she likes being ignored. It's because the silence pulls her in. The unknown ignites her curiosity. It creates a gap her mind tries to fill. And that tension keeps her emotionally invested. But here's where many good men go wrong. They think being a good communicator means full disclosure. They think connection means instant emotional exposure. But what they don't realize is that mystery is not manipulation, it's maturity. It's knowing that not every emotion needs to be explained. That sometimes the most attractive thing you can do is hold back. Because when you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you reveal less, your presence grows stronger. And when you leave space, she leans in. Let me give it to you straight. If you are always available, always explaining, always performing for her affection, you become predictable. And what is predictable becomes boring. A woman wants to feel something when she thinks of you, something she can't quite name. A tension, a spark. What if? And that only happens when you stay connected, but not completely exposed. Let her earn your truth. Let her discover you piece by piece. Let her feel that your silence isn't emptiness, it's depth. Because when a woman senses you've seen things, lived things, and don't need to broadcast it for approval, that's when she becomes obsessed. Not because you're hiding, but because you finally understood that in a world full of noisy, stillness is the loudest thing a man can offer. Most men never see it, but there's a moment, subtle, quiet, almost invisible, when a woman realizes she's starting to feel more than she expected. And that moment, it terrifies her. See, she may come across confident, even bold. She may tell you she's not afraid of falling in love. But deep down, there's a fear she will rarely admit, even to herself, the fear of loving you more than you love her. Because when that happens, she loses her power, her control, her emotional shield. You want to know why some women pull back the moment things start feeling real? Why she suddenly grows cold right after an intimate night? Why she becomes distant just as the relationship starts to deepen? It's not always because something is wrong with you. It's often because something too real is happening inside her. And it's terrifying. Because here's the truth, the more she feels for you, the more vulnerable she becomes. And vulnerability for a woman is risk. It's risk because she's opened up before and got nothing but silence in return. She's given her heart before, and it was taken for granted. She's trusted a man's potential, and it led to disappointment. So when she meets a man who sees her, who touches not just her body but her soul, her first instinct is not to run toward you. It's to protect herself from you. And here's where most men fumble. They either chase harder, trying to prove their love, or they grow insecure, wondering what they did wrong. But the man who understands this fear, the man who stays calm and consistent when she's emotionally shaken, the man who doesn't need her to love him back with equal intensity to feel worthy, that man becomes rare, magnetic, irresistible. Because women don't fall hardest for the man who promises he'll never leave. They fall for the man who could leave, but chooses to stay. It's his restraint, his control, his self-respect. That makes her trust her feelings are safe with him. That even if she loves him more, she won't lose herself. Because he's not trying to overpower her feelings. He's just holding space for them. So what do you do when a woman starts pulling away emotionally? You don't panic. You don't beg. You let her feel the weight of your silence. You let your absence remind her of your value. Because when a woman realizes that her biggest fear has come true, that she's starting to love you more, and yet you remain calm, clear, composed, she stops testing. She stops running. She starts trusting. And that's when she chooses you, not because you chased her, but because your strength gave her permission to surrender. The man she loves the deepest is never the one who demands her heart. It's the one she's afraid to lose, because she knows he doesn't need her. He chooses her.